Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with the weekly news in review for July 28th, 2024. And we've got some great stuff going on. There's a slew of news across all these different wonderful franchises. But Transformers, we have a little bit Legends, not much. A lot of Mainline and a lot of, a little bit of Masterpiece. But what there is Masterpiece is very, very impressive, as you can see right here. Got a lot of G.I. Joe classified stuff to cover, and of course, we do have the Rattler. It's the Imperial Shuttle Tidarium Cobra Rattler, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we've got Mattel and their Street Sharks, and oddly enough, I got the first wave at Target today, and so I think I'm in on them all because pretty good overall. We saw more Street Fighter stuff to talk about. There's a lot to talk about in pretty much all this. Nacelle came up, they showed, and there's more going on with Nacelle than meets the eye, more than I even imagined. And then we've got some Star Wars stuff and a whole lot of other stuff in the middle. I'm going to try to move through it as fast as I can, cover as much as I can, and then maybe have to make another video down the road or push some of it to next week. We'll talk about this some more coming up. As always, starting out with Let's Do It Show Z, there is the Black Mamba GS01 Studio Series SS80 Braun oversized version. So they took the Studio Series, oversized it. I think they actually recolored it a bit, but pretty cool looking if you're interested in this movie line. And then it looks like this in the alt mode. Looks like it's going to go on a round of battle bots, if you know what I mean. We also have Magnificent Mecha MM01W Optimus Prime repaint version, $2 down for pre-order, and it is 12 inches, almost 12 inches tall. AKA, is it Ultra Magnus? I mean, do they look at it like that when it's the movie Optimus Prime? Anyway, Magnificent Mecha repaint. And for whatever reason, this snuck by me. I don't know. I don't know how this snuck by me. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but either they still have it in stock or they got it back in stock. The Magic Square MS01X Light of Freedom, the first one, metallic. This is the really good paint job on this Prime. And I'm starting to think the 2.0 won't get this level of paint because of the amount of panels that have to get moved and the paint can get scratched. But this one has less panel moving. Anyhow, $70 though. It's the 1.0. I have it and it's very impressive. Mezco Toyz MTRM14 Grandmean ist der Gut, or Das Gut. This figure is what people have been waiting for. We want to finish the Headmasters. They've done 18 repaints of their Seekers. Hopefully that paid for all of this. But this looks like it's really getting a lot closer. Would like to see color versions of it all, but very impressive. I'm in on it. I'm in on it 100%. Really excited for it. I mean, this is the first time we're getting a highbrow in the Masterpiece scale, and he looks really good. And he looked good back before when they showed it before. I mean, we got this one on Brainstorm. We've got the main four, and it's really exciting. I mean, it's got to be years. If Fans Toys ever does it, we're looking at years down the road. Hopefully they can bang this out within the next, by the end of the year or maybe early of 2025. It would be awesome. And then we could see that Brainstorm. We can make all this happen. But I really think this is the biggest showing of SDCC. Now, this was from TF Source. TF Source Pictures, they had it with them at SDCC, and very, very exciting to see this project going forward. And I think this was also on show with TF Source, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Fans Project Lost Realm prototypes. Now, don't have alt modes on this, and I was starting to question if these even transform, but we do know they make transforming Transformers, so why wouldn't they? And they had done some Dinobots in the past, or dinosaurs in the past, and with that, will be interesting to see what comes of this. Speaking of old companies that haven't done much lately, starting to become relevant again, Fans Project. So this is the Takara Diaclone Reboot New Machine reveal at the AC convention, and there's a Taiwan convention I know of, and then there's a Hong Kong convention. evidently, is what it was saying from these pictures. But anyhow, this is cool looking. It's interesting. It's just something. All that they showed so far was this picture. Very interesting. X-Transbots Toys MX32. They're blades. Is it blades? And there's a helicopter mode. Of course, it's being shown next to Springer, who turns into a helicopter and a car. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. Glad they're moving along with this. And there's the arm. And that's a nice looking arm. Actually, it's a really nice looking arm. And it appears to more or less just all be built in, of course. There's not really any reason for it not to be. And it looks pretty solid and stable. Yeah, look forward to this. Pretty solid evolutionary step moving forward to get this thing done. Now, I don't have the dimensions on this yet, the size or much about it just yet, but I'm just going to throw it in the masterpiece realm, whatever, because it's going to get lost in the Hasbro area. So this is called Unix Square Combat Optimus Prime prototype images. It doesn't look really that bad in the bot mode, and it does more than that. It's like a model kit in a way. It's kind of, you build it and move it around, and I don't think it technically transforms. I think it technically gets taken apart and then reconfigured, put back together into, well, whatever this is. So you might like this. This might be an interesting concept. I'm not sure if you call what it does transforming, and there's very little information, but I don't really like the way the front looks on this. And yeah, it's interesting, but maybe this is like the beginning of something, and down the road it can turn into something better. Who knows? YoloPark has finally put out pictures of their Starscream, and this is the AMK Pro series, just like the Megatron and the Optimus Prime. The 8-inch figures, non-transformable. This thing looks fantastic. I have to admit, I believe they are literally watching my reviews and taking every one of my comments to heart, because this looks more like a clean cartoon version. It does have some line work. It does have a little bit of battle damage on it, but it's not as excessive. But it looks fantastic. I think they've done better with this than the first two, and I love the first two, but I think this is even better. Matthew Deluxe Baldwin, he's gonna love this thing. This is I'm impressed. I'm impressed. All right, more stuff from Takara. This the C01S Missing Link Sentinel Prime Missing Link Optimus Prime repaint. So that's the one in the top corner. Then we have in a TLEX Super Starscream Legacy Armada Starscream repaint into blue, I guess. Nemesis Prime 40th Anniversary Studio Series Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime repaint. And then the TC01 Collection Throne Studio Series 86 Starscream Throne recolor. And there's not pre-orders up for this stuff just yet, but I'm definitely gonna get the Missing Link. It's just such a really good idea to do that Missing Link, and I'm gonna support it. And I'm gonna go in on that, the Sentinel Prime in yellow. So I gotta say, I am kind of a YoloPark AMK shill now. I just love those things. And I was when I first saw that they were going to do these Transformers 1 figures, I said, nah, I'm not in on it at all. But the more I look at them, they look really cool. Just the fact that, well, AMK made them look cool. That's all there really is too. YoloPark's AMK makes them look cool. But they also set up a show at SDCC, I believe. Oh, nope, sorry. Taiwan Comic Convention is what they were set up at. And this is kind of their booth, what all is going on. Pretty exciting. It is tough to keep track with all these conventions going on, who's where and what's going on where. And they're officially licensed, so you'd think they'd have a presence at SDCC. But here we go. This is kind of what's going on right here. But kind of zooming in, they're showing off that new Starscream and the Transformer 1 stuff and some other things that are going on. Of course, don't forget about their big ones. That's real. They really started with those big, really expensive ones. I'm not in on those. I'm in on the smaller ones, but they do great work in both scales. So here's the 3.0 MDLX line, which is similar to what's going on with the YoloPark AMK Pro series. Now they're they're comparable. They're within about a 3/4 of an inch of each other, but these are very stylized. Much different take on what's going on. Still look pretty cool. They also they did have a presence at Comic-Con, and so of course with their presence at Comic-Con, they got a lot of stuff to show off, and it looks pretty good. I think they're doing pretty good work with it. They also want to show off their Sunstorm and Acid Storm. I'm wondering if they're BBTS exclusives or just BBTS is plugging themselves back behind there. Go plug yourself back over there. Okay, that's how they did it. And yeah, looks pretty good overall. Some more of their movie stuff on display, and that Mirage, which we've recently seen. And it's all pretty cool looking. I am on a pick and choose basis on this with them. I did get their G2 Megatron, and I'm glad I did. It looks fantastic, and it looks great with the YoloPark display. Alright, so we have very little Legends scale stuff to talk about. I did already discuss the Optimus Prime stuff for pre-order, and now we're going to be talking about this one. But this is the New Age repaint of their Slag into, they call it Nighthog? Like a Nighthog. Anyhow, this is pretty cool looking repaint for whatever reason they did it. I went with the toy version and the clear version and Magic Squares cartoon version with these. But cool, you get all these options. Okay, so Hasbro had a lot of stuff to show off. Really stuff we've already seen, but seeing this pretty much almost completed here with the Omega Prime. Haslab, I think it looks great, fantastic. Excited for anybody that ordered this. It is definitely superior to the vintage one. And yes, that's VAC metal, which was my only real concern, was the lack of VAC metal. And it looks like they're using it, so this is definitely a major upgrade to the original toy. Alright, so I'm going to try to work through this as fast as I can. I'm going to try to not show stuff that we've already seen in the past. It's just rehashing. It wastes time. But this is the new collaboration. This is the G.I. Joe X Transformers Cup Triple T, and it looks pretty cool. It's probably overall the best bot mode and best alt mode, even though Cup's not, he's supposed to be like blue, not all the white, but still pretty cool. The head looks good, and the overall proportions of the body are pretty good considering what they're doing with this. There's the Triple T, and it looks spot on. I truly 100% believe they just take the Joe vehicle and reverse engineer it the other direction. And I really kind of think that's how it started back in G1 anyway, because the G1 alt modes were spot on, but the bot modes were a little wonky in some areas. Same thing going on right here. By the way, I think Hasbro or Takara for the Hasbro mainline, it's in reverse. The bot mode's the number one, and then they put the emphasis on the bot mode, and the alt mode is lacking a bit. So this is kind of the reverse, because it seems like more of an emphasis on Joe. But still, there's box packaging, looks pretty good, and people are saying this is probably the last one. I mean, that's what I'm hearing, that this might be the last one because of Super 7 getting the O-ring. You notice this is announced before the O-rings are actually up for pre-order at Super 7. I mean, that's kind of what I'm hearing, and it kind of makes sense, but everybody could also be wrong. Now, I think we might have seen this before, but I wasn't 100% sure because I'm not in on it. If I ordered it, pre-ordered it, I'm not in on it. I'm not as on top of it as I should be. But this is the Doom and Destruction Collection 2-pack. There's the bot modes. Here is the alt modes to those, and that looks pretty good overall for what it does. And I feel like we've seen it, but let's move on to stuff I know we haven't seen yet. We have not seen this. Now, people have been talking about Core Class ending. I know TJ Omega made a video talking about it, and I did bring up the fact that there wasn't really any guidance given in the future, but here is a concept art frenzy. Looks pretty cool and interesting. It's like he's built with his pile drivers in there, and then it transforms into this. Not a cassette, but a whatever this is. So that's cool. That's interesting. Here's the packaging for it to show that it is still core class. So the core class stuff is still going along. I wouldn't say it's going strong though, because I know Target clearance, all theirs out to $3. So I got a bunch of them at Target for $3. Studio Series Core Bumblebee, Starscream. So the Bumblebee movie Starscream version here, and this is what he looks like in his alt mode. So not too bad. Kind of feels pretty much right in line with the Bumblebee Seeker alt mode. Now this is going up to Deluxe, and this is the Studio Series Deluxe Reactivate Bumblebee, and pretty interesting overall. This is interesting Bumblebee. Probably not for me. I probably won't pick it up, but some people will, and it does look more like a Rumblebee. Rumblebee is a truck, but there it is, the Bumblebee alt mode. Then we get into this one here. Now this one is the Revenge of the Fallen 15th anniversary. Can that be right? I'm not sure if that's right. Is that right? I guess that's right. Anyway, it's a multi-pack where you get an Optimus Prime and you get the Jetfire, and for whatever you get those other ones in there. And then this is what the pack looks like with the box and all this stuff, the set. Cool, interesting stuff if you're in all this. The Prime and the Jetfire do combine, which is good that the gimmick's still going strong. Now, there's this, and I've got more pictures of it down the road, but maybe I'll just skip over it and not worry about it, because this is the Legacy United Dino King, and in a slew of pictures I was looking at, I saw the Dino Kings, but then this is another slew of pictures. So, anyhow, there it is. Maybe I'll find the other ones, put them in here. Alright, so here it is, the Dino King pictures of alt modes. So that should work. Looking pretty good. If you're in on it. My son got the original set. I assume this is the same thing. Is it? Of these cores? But I guess I should ask him. Anyhow. Pretty cool looking. One set. I believe it's only at Hasbro Pulse though, because that's what they were saying. A Pulse. Go to Pulse to buy it. Okay, so I'm going to cycle through some of the pictures. Probably not all of them, but these are upcoming figures, but they're mostly repacks. I felt like I was just in a time machine. I went back in time and like, did I click the right SDCC? Because this should have been like a Transformers. Anyway, okay, repack of Cosmos is coming. We got a G2 breakdown. We got a Origin Bumblebee repack. We've got a Legacy Armada Wheeljack and War for Cybertron Ramjet repack retail item. We've got a Legacy Tarn re-release, a Legacy Galaxy Shuttle repack retail item, and then an overcharged Legacy Blitzwing recolor to Diaclone with a new head. So there we are, and yeah, that's kind of crazy. We have so many repacks. One out of the crossover that I want to talk about is this one here. It's the Autobot Agent Knight, which is a crossover with Knight Rider, and this is very impressive. It's very cool. I did watch the transformation video on it, and it does light up in the chest, and you can see where they didn't really have to. It's one chunk of a chest, so they could put in the electronics right in the chest. Very smart thinking, very cool stuff. I like how they did that. And here is the alt mode just in hand. Compared to a Bumblebee, it's a pretty good sized vehicle, and it is very, very reminiscent of the kit car. So, good kit, good kit. I think this is a very good crossover. Alright, so this is interesting information. I really didn't expect that this was how it's going to go. But anyway, Transformers Generation Studio Commander Class 86 Long Haul and Hook. So they are going to be putting out a $90 set with 2 of these figures. And then I guess you buy the rest of them for $25 each. So the other 4 for $25 each. So it's $190, I guess, to get this put together. If everything stays the same. If I'm wrong and they're all the rest of our Voyager class, then well, you know, I might be. It might be a lot more expensive than that, but still pretty cool in a way, because we know it's going to be big. We know it's going to be a sizable amount, or at least we hope it does. Still haven't seen much of it, but information, Commander class. Just get those 2 figures. All right, moving on from Transformers, because we got a lot to talk about. This is the Walmart exclusive Walmart CollectorCon vintage set. They call it the Dungeons & Dragons 7-inch scale figure vintage bundle, and it is a retro set of these figures. But what's really cool about it, it's the Elkhorn and the Zarak, and they're repainted and given the vintage weapons, but it's in collector friendly clamshell packaging, meaning that you could pull them out and put them back in, which is, I think that is the way all these should go. If it's got the retro card backs, you should be able to do that. And I know Mattel's been doing that. That's really cool. And Mattel's doing it with some of their stuff. So I really would like to see that with all of them. Not that you have to rip it off the card and ruin the packaging if you want to take them out. Anyway, $60, set of 2 if you're in on these. Walmart only. Okay, so by now, y'all have seen the Rattler, I'm sure. The Haslab. And it's $325 for the price. It's pretty big. It's going to come with the Wild Weasel figure, of course. And then the unlocked tiers. I'm sure it's already unlocked the first unlock, which is patches that nobody wants. But the next unlocks. I'm not going to go through every detail on this thing. You saw the wings fold up. We've got too much to talk about, and everybody's covered this to death, that I'm sure. But here's the other unlocks. We get 2 other figures, and you get the Baron. This is the highest unlock, and then you get the Gunner on the right side there at, I don't know, is it 14 and 17,000, something like that. So I haven't put a whole lot of time into it. Obviously, I'm going to buy it. Obviously, it's funded already. It funded in less than a day, as with most of the Haslabs for G.I. Joe. That's just how it goes. And G.I. Joe collectors come out for this kind of stuff. Looks really good. Lots of electronics in it. This is an amazing picture, by the way. Just fantastic. And yes, the first picture I showed in my Thursday video was evidently not the right picture. It was misinformation and fake news. Alright, so we got a bunch of stuff that it's a mixed bag in a way on the rest of the G.I. Joe stuff. There is a Halo high altitude, low opening jumper with parachute. And it's funny because people talking about, are adults going to be throwing this in the air and watching it fall down or something? Kind of crazy. It is a higher price point, though. I think it is a $35 price point. I got to go check, but it's not a standard $25 price point. And then we got this one here. So pretty much all of these sets are a little higher price. This is the sniper with guillotine suit or something. Ghillie suit. Yeah, there we go. But anyway, female sniper. If you're in on that and you want something like that, I mean, I'm passing on both those. I mean, the parachute guy's kind of cool in a way, but Road Pig. Now, I probably will still pick it up, even though I just don't think they did a very good job with it. It doesn't look right to me. Watch my Thursday video. I explained that. No, I explained that in my Saturday video. Watch my Saturday video about Super 7 and how I think Super 7 would have nailed this. Nailed it. Still a pretty cool looking figure because of the fact that it's in that whole, the Mad Max realm. I don't think it's a good Road Pig. I just think it's a good figure in Mad Max world and universe, but not a good Road Pig. Then we get this here. This is a Night Force Falcon and Coral. And yeah, just repacks. I mean, I'm starting to not feel so great. Spend a lot of money on these repacks and recolors. At first it was kind of fun, and now I just kind of feel taken advantage of in a way. The head sculpt looks way better than the first one. People will be popping and swapping, I'm pretty sure. Then we get the Raptor, and I am not impressed with the Raptor. Not that it's a bad looking figure, it just doesn't feel like the Raptor I would want. And again, so I mean, more and more of the classified stuff, I probably will pick it up for whatever. I'll probably pick it up. But I don't like his backpack thing. Man, I don't like that. I don't. I mean, some people do. They like the Raptor looking like he's gotten into the new millennium, but I want the good old fashioned Raptor. I mean, I could see people with those wings being able to. You could actually have suits like that glide. You jump and you glide. I mean, this is different. This is supposed to be a whole jet propelled kind of a mechanism thing that's going on. They reinvented the whole figure. The wheel didn't need to be reinvented on the figure, but I guess they felt it did. Some people are saying, like, what are they going to do with Crystal Ball? That's a good point. What are they going to redo? Is he going to have a whole bunch of contraptions? Is his Crystal Ball thing going to do a whole lot? His shield? Anyway, moving on to this one here, the Steel Core Commander versus Twilight Guard. And I was thinking this was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive also. I'm not sure. But this is like $60. This is really expensive. I'm not in on it. But it still looks cool. But very expensive stuff for kind of what we're getting. So Mezco showed off some stuff here. This is Dick Tracy versus Flat Top Box Set. So you get those two with their 112 collective. I thought they looked pretty good. And yeah, that yellow raincoat, overcoat. That always looks kind of cool. So that's just the classic Dick Tracy look, and I think they nailed it well, and both characters very well. I'm not a huge fan. I don't need the soft goods, but I think they did it very well here. All right, so we're looking at Mezco doing some 5 POA figures. I'm assuming size-wise that puts them in maybe the 4.5 to 5 inch realm. With that, you can make an affordable Batmobile. I don't know if Mezco's affordable on anything, but the Batmobile looks pretty cool. And I just got in my one from Target for the 1/12 scale, the 6 inch figures. But there's those. Then there's this picture here, and there's like a lot of individual pictures, but this just gets it all in one shot. Save on time here, so we can see the Harley Quinn, Mr. Freeze, Batman, and Batcycle, Two-Face, and Shy Dive Batman. I gotta say this. I'm not sure how big of a market there is for this. I'm just curious. Y'all give me some feedback, because I don't know. There's just so much going on. Not sure what to talk about next. So we're going to talk about Street Sharks, Mattel. They had this to show. This, I think some of these are already out, and some are still coming. Or this might be Wave 2. I did buy 3, but I've already put them on display, and actually, they're not in any of these, I don't think. So, anyhow, they look pretty cool. I don't remember the names. I'm not going to lie. I bought some like 2 or 3 small cheap collections to get me a decent sized collection. So that's how I have them and kind of know what they're like. And here's another one that they are showing off for, I guess, their series 2 or 3 coming out of this. And then there's one they didn't have in hand, but they showed it on the screen. Or did they have that in hand? Yeah, I guess they did have that in hand. Anyway, Street Sharks, I'm not an expert on this, but since I have a vintage collection, I figure I'll keep up with these modern ones, at least until I get tired of it. But they're kind of fun, kind of cool, and it's interesting having them in the packaging. All right, now we're getting into the snake layer, the crowdfund. They haven't put the price out yet for this, and it's pretty good size. So they had to do a size comparison next to an Eternia, so that you want to know why they did this? To impress you? No, to get you gauged for the price. It's like, let's get you your price expectation on this. This thing better not be more than, well, it's probably gonna be 500, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be on it for 500. It's just nowhere near as iconic, but it looks amazing. They've done a fantastic job with it. It's just, I don't have a place to put it. I'm running out of space. I got a cat slayer for Super 7 to put in place, and I don't know about where this is gonna go, but it looks really good. And I thought the whole thing was gonna be all green. I love how the thing is brown, but there's green accents from where the snakes are. This is way better than I thought it would be. I'm just gonna put it that way. I did not vote on this at all. When I voted for other things. I think a Land Ram and something else, but I did not vote for this. But I think they did a good job on it. All right, Super 7. We'll just look at Sheila as we're looking at pictures here and talk about it. Today you're gonna be watching Sunday, so Monday, the next day, tomorrow, you will probably see these up for order on Super 7's site, and I will be up there getting some of these SDCC exclusives if I can get my hands on them. So I'm gonna do that if I can, but pretty exciting. I look forward to this Sheila and a few other things. Here's like the Sesame Street stuff and a few things. I just try to take pictures of stuff that I don't think I showed before, because as all these vendors do, or all these companies do, is each day they want to put different stuff out so that you go back to their booth and, oh, what, this is new? Oh, what, this is new? That's a trick that's been played for the last few years. And here is, they didn't show this day one. It wasn't out day one, even though they were selling it, is the Zartan. So that's exactly what the Zartan in disguise is going to look like. And that looks pretty decent. I mean, I think the Zartan by itself is just an amazing figure. And I wasn't sure about the price point, if it was a higher price point or not, because it's got all the accessories. There's also some more stuff they're doing with these Power Rangers, so they're putting them back out again, I guess. But there's also going to be some more Power Ranger that they call it the Deluxe, and they're shiny. And I still don't see the price point on those yet either, too. But I'm pretty sure these are the standard, already too high, $55 price point. And then they got a glow in the dark, so that's probably adding another $10. Glow in the dark Green Ranger, but it really makes sense for a Green Ranger to glow in the dark, because a lot of that glow in the dark is green. So yeah, it makes sense. Right, here's a picture of Ninell's booth. It's just kind of a wide expanse of it. Expanse. They're doing expanse. This is some really cool 90s properties, and let's get into a little bit closer look at each one of these things they got going on here. This is a prototype of the Lawrence Lindbergh figure from the Biker Mice, which looks fantastic. In fact, if all you've ever had was the vintage figure, it's not a good figure. And some of these Biker Mice, the Biker Mice themselves, and some of the bad guys are cool, but the main bad guy was not much of a figure. He didn't do much. But this one looks really cool, and got different heads, and the way he's holding his mask, that's so cool. They were fish people that put human masks on. They put Edgar faces on. Here we go with, they're going to do the Sports Bros, which since I really didn't collect it back in the 90s, I just saw it on the shelves. I didn't realize the sequence that stuff was issued out. And I guess these came second, so they're getting put out second. And it looks cool. I mean, they look like better iterations of the vintage Sports Bros. Not sure if it's worth going in $35 a piece for, but it's still pretty cool. Now they're doing black and white. Now in their comic, there's some reason why it's black and white. He didn't allude to what the reason was, but it's interesting. Estimated release November of 2024, so that's moving pretty quick. And I do like a lot of things that Ninell's doing. This here shows, on the left, there's a great Garloo in Walmart green. It's a Walmart exclusive. The other Walmart exclusive is the Night Fighting Dargon. Okay, the first one they put out was 40. This is $24.99. And it's got the same amount of stuff with it, except it's in the silver for the Night Fighting Dargon. And I would have picked one up, but it was sold out by the time I found out about it, so I'm sure with Walmart, Ninell doing rerunning product, I'm pretty sure eventually you'll be able to get your hands on it. And then you get to see this other, Walmart exclusive Firepower Max for, that's their first line. All right, getting into this Cowboys of Moo Mesa. That looks good. I have one more picture, but I got to come back to you for Biker Mice. But we'll look at this, and then we'll look at that other picture. So these are the Sheriff, Terror Bull, and then Calamity Kate's Gatlin Gun, and then Cowboys, Moo Mesa, Marshall, Moo, Montana. So they look cool. It's not a property I'm into, but the fact that they make them look really good, it's kind of hard to resist. I want to support Ninell, and I want to support these properties, but I'm not. This isn't really doing much for me, aside from the fact that I think they look good. All right, this is the other big Biker Mice reveal, and that is the Charlie figure. And I think they did a good job with this Charlie figure. She looks pretty good, and like she's coming from the cartoon, and more articulation, and a much better figure than they made back in the day. So I'm curious about, will we get her accessories, that big crazy wacky gun she came with? I'm not sure. This is just the first that we've seen of her, and the first reveal. In fact, he said they got it in the mail Tuesday, and just right before they left for the con, so barely in the nick of time. So they got more Robo Force characters. I think that smaller one's called the Sentinel, and then there's two even smaller ones called Turble, the orange and blue. Then there's the bigger one that they call Detonator. And as though I don't collect these, I have a handful of them that just kind of I've accumulated, not on purpose, but I wasn't hating on it though. I remember it from back in the day. And then this one is 100, is the one on the right. So cool stuff. He had a lot more information to say about them, but they are in their comic book, and there's probably going to be a TV show and stuff. And by the way, they're coming back with 2 more seasons of Toys That Made Us. So I wonder what toy lines that they're actually going to cover in the next 2 seasons of Toys That Made Us. That should be 8 more episodes. Okay, more Street Fighter news, and I'm guessing this is their Akuma, but you only get to see the back. You don't get to see the front, which I'm not familiar with the character Akuma, but it still looks pretty cool. And they're giving us all the characters I want, so I'm very happy with that. Here we go with kind of the scene updated with adding a few more things. And yes, that's E Honda in there, and we got a closer look at it. All right, closer look at E Honda right here. I think it looks fantastic. I mean, you can see some paint rub and stuff going on there and paint transfers. But at the end of the day, great looking figure, giving us what we want, and going to be able to dial out that Street Fighter 2 scene that I'm into. And yeah, I do like some of the newer ones. And Zangief back there looking all big. Okay, so we're following up with the Street Fighter from Jada Toys with Syndicate Collectibles and their Bloodsport, which this is very impressive also. I mean, I'm really impressed with what they've done here. I'm not familiar with the scale. I'm kind of guessing they're supposed to be in the 1/12 scale. 7-inch action figure down there. So, of course, the guy that's fighting Jean-Claude Van Damme is much bigger. But really cool looking detail in these figures. Here's our Double Dragon figure, which, you know, I don't know how far they're going to go with this, but there's like a huge muscular guy in Double Dragon. That would make for an excellent figure too. So, not sure how deep they're going to go into it, but it would be a whole lot of fun if we could see that. And then, out of all the other stuff, the only thing I knew much about was this Futurama figure, and it looks pretty cool too. If you're into Futurama and collecting all that kind of stuff, there he goes. Bouncing back to Mattel, they have announced that there's going to be a ThunderCats crossover with Origins, kind of like Turtles is doing. And with that, that's going to happen in 2025. That does not mean that Super7 loses the license and has to stop making ThunderCats. It's just the way it's going to be. Kind of like the Savage World ones that were made by, was it Funko that made them? But yeah, this is going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm not sure if I want to go back down that, which I already did the first set, but I might. I mean, I said I didn't want to do the Turtles, and I'm stuck, so I might be stuck on those two. Okay, speaking of Mattel, we covered most of this on Thursday, I believe, but we got some cartoon collection stuff on the left there, and then we've got some more of these. This is all pre-order stuff that's up for pre-order now. BBTS, Entertainment Earth, Toy Geek, I believe. Probably Nerdzoic. I don't know if Nerdzoic carries it, but all your places that you order, you can order this stuff now. And these look great. These look great. I haven't done any pre-orders on this yet, but we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it. I am going to dial out the cartoon collection. That's my plan. And some of this Masterverse stuff, stay on top of it. All right, so we're going to have to wrap this up with some Star Wars and move on. But there's some new stuff here with the Black Series. This is Jedi Master Vernestra Rowe, and then Cassian Andor, Imperial Armored Commando, Ahsoka Tano again, Peridia, and then we have series Deidre Miro, IG-12 and Goru, Jedi Order Tracker, series Basil. I don't know about all this stuff because I'm not, well, I know about the Grogu stuff, but most of the stuff, I'm not watching the show, doesn't mean anything to me, but there it is if you're into it. Sifting through the stuff, this is, I think, the only thing in the, this is Vintage Collection, I believe. That was at the breakfast, CollectorCon, but I think they're saying this is Vintage Collection. No, this has got to be Black Series. Okay, Yoda and Commander Gree in the Black Series figures. I knew this was Black Series. And he's got his chair, and he comes with Commander Gree, which is a figure that people really want. That's pretty good. I think they're showing off this figure that goes with the E-Wing. Is it the E-Wing? But there it is, the KE4N4. Showing off the Moff Gideon's Imperial Hallway with a pack-in Mandalorian figure. And this is up for pre-order at BBTS and all other places if you're interested in getting it. It looks cool. It's a cool diorama, cool way to display your stuff. Although we've seen it before, this is Darth Maul in his... This is the Black Series. Darth Maul on his speeder from the Phantom Menace, if you're into this. And it's very retro packaging. This is an SDCC exclusive. I'm not sure how anyone else is going to get their hands on it if you're into it. Lastly, the other interesting thing that I think that they showed this week, and I haven't shown before, is the Armor Forge playset, $60, and it's a pretty cool playset if you're into this thing. With, I guess it includes an armor with it, so that's pretty cool. Looks good. I'm not in on this. I don't need this kind of stuff, but I think that it looks really good for those of you who are excited for it. We're getting on this Vintage Collection Blurred and the Mandalorian figure 2-pack for Vintage Collection. And I gotta tell you, I'm like, this is pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. But when I see this, I saw stuff similar to this. There's a speeder bike. There was Black Chrysanthemum and other stuff at Ollie's. There was a lot of stuff that showed up at Ollie's this week. And I just don't have time to talk about that. That's going to have to be next week. But anyway, what do you guys think about this week's weekly news and review? I know it's really long. Like and subscribe. Ted Hanger out.